up, my little shadowlings? My name is Raven, and welcome back to my channel. So today, it's just another Procreate speed paint. I'm trying to work on my editing a little, but for now, this is what we're gonna get. Today, I am drawing one of my OCs. Her name is Khara, and she is a main character from my story, Trials of the Realms, which is coming to Webtoon soon. Probably in a few months, because I still have a lot to do for that. But regardless, she is the sister of the main character, but she is also the realm of death. Now, to get a little context into what the fuck a realm is the living concept of something. Like, unlike a god, where they're just simply managing whatever they are. Like, Hades is the god of the dead. Doesn't mean that he is Thanatos, he is death. He doesn't mean that. It means he just manages the dead, that kind of thing. She, on the other hand, is Thanatos. She is Thanatos and Hades combined. She controls the dead. She knows who dies. Essentially, think of the realms as gods on steroids. And, yeah. And as the realm of death, Khara is arguably one of the most powerful realms there. Her body is literally death. If you're not immortal and you touch her skin, you will die. This straight up, you will die. She can see people's souls. She can see their lifespans. She knows when they're gonna die. And she's in charge of making sure a soul goes where they're supposed to go. Soul recycling, everything. She is pretty great at her job. Like, she's very overworked because it's not just a planet. Because realms are not planet-based like gods. They're universally based. So that means she deals with trillions of souls every day. And it's a nightmare. In her words, it's a nightmare. Now, Khara is a mother type of person. She's a very motherly lady. She doesn't see violence as the first option. She sees it as the last option. And she thinks of all the other realms as not exactly as her children. She sees them as friends and comrades, of course. She sees them as family at later points in the story, but she does have the maternal urge to comfort them, to make sure they're doing okay and all that kind of thing, because she physically can't have children. And for her, this is her way of kind of coping with that fact. Because as her body's living death, that also means, she's kind of living birth control. She can't really have kids. And that sucks, because she really wants kids. And I don't know. I feel bad for her. Now, to get a little bit into the drawing, initially, I wanted to draw her with, like, a more powerful pose. Instead of her looking kind of bored and ready for battle, I wanted to make her more, like, seem powerful, more like she is death. But I think at the time when I drew this, because this I first started this drawing in 2020, and I ended it and I finished it in later 2021. So when I first started it, I wasn't very adventurous with my posing. I wasn't very adventurous with my art yet. But as you could see from some of the hand I wanted to try and do, I did have ideas, I just didn't have the confidence to execute them, I suppose. No. This was supposed to be Khara's battle outfit, which now that I'm looking at it, I like certain parts of it, like the skull corset in the middle, but I don't like how fancy it looks. It doesn't really fit how I envision death, which, thank God, I'm redoing her armor, especially because the tricky thing about her armor is she needs to have certain parts of it exposed because of, her animal features. If you look, actually, I think I should be doing the line art for that pretty soon. I don't know, but whenever you see those black, essentially shapes on her arms and shoulders, that's her wings. That's her moth wings. tattooed onto her. So when she doesn't have her wings out, they look like normal tattoos, but when they're out and about, they're off her skin, obviously. And yeah, the line art, I will say, took me like 2 months because I was never happy with it. And I don't know, this drawing was so much. I don't know why, but I was having such a difficult time working on this drawing, and I don't know why it took me so long to finish. But the one thing I'm really proud of is this mask. Like, keep in note, this mask was super last minute, I won't lie, but when you see the final thing with it, you're gonna realize, yo, that looks fire. Because I truly do think, at least for the coloring, that this is my best work. The pose I could definitely, work on. I could definitely work on the scythe and my shading on that, but the coloring of her body with the background and how it all meshes together, I firmly believe this makes this my best work yet. And let's see. As you can see, I'm starting the shading. I'm going in with a rough shading at first, trying to think how I want my light source to go. Because earlier in the sketch, I marked out the light source. And I also, in the background, I decided, instead of trying to just line art the entire thing and then just do like a cell shading, I decided to try and do like a more painterly thing. I didn't really know what I was doing, but it came out great. Like, legitimately, I really think it came out great. For the textures on the wall, I just used the texture brush and then painting some fire. Fire is super fun to paint. Can I just say that? Like, if you haven't painted fire, holy shit, I'd recommend paint fire. That shit's fun. God, that background gave me the most trouble though, because now what I realized what I did wrong, I didn't use any hard edges. I don't know why, but I just used an airbrush for like 90% of this. I didn't use a fucking hard brush at all. Like, the most I used was the technical pen, which I realize now I should have just used a round brush, so you learn as you go, I suppose. Good. And then here's the second pass of the shadows, and we're going to be getting into the highlights pretty soon after we put in the rose mesh. I don't know why I put that there. Whatever, it looks great. No, but I will say, looking back at this now, I realized I forgot something. On her left arm, because of the way her arm is positioned, you should be able to see at least a bit of her realm mark, which is centered directly underneath her forearm. And with the way this is posed and like her arm is centered, it should be a little bit visible, which I didn't do. So there's one mistake with that. Mistakes. I love it. Gotta love your mistakes because you always learn from it, I suppose. And yeah, if you're wondering about like the character backstory and how she got those scars and stuff, stay tuned. I have a pretty special video with all of my characters in it in the works. Like, I plan on that video being a very long video for that, but we'll see. Now we're starting to get into the mask. Now the mask, I really wanted to make it dirty and just kind of scary, because best way to put it is, she tries not to make death scary for people, but if she's incredibly angry or like it's war, she will don the mask to let people, put the fear of death in people. I think that's pretty much all I did with this, minus a few extra details at the end. So I'll see y'all in the next video.